Alright, now lose it. Go crazy.
Always two there are. No more, no less.
Hello and welcome out to a special Saturday edition of the Gamers Council.
Weird.
Is it weird? I don't know. Maybe it could be. But yeah, so oh man, this is going to be a great show today. We already have the slanderous one. I can say that officially. Paris is in the chat. Look at this. Xbox is dead. And then what else did you say? Start a PlayStation podcast. Paris. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome out, everybody. Welcome here, and hopefully more people will be piling in soon. And of course, we're going to introduce the panel. We're going to start with our special guest, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only JEZ Corden. JEZ, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate you, and welcome, sir. How you doing tonight? Oh, muted. It's all right.
Muted. Sorry.
That's
yeah,
right.
nah, thanks for having me, man. Pretty good today. How are you doing?
Not too bad. What time is it there right now? Just out of curiosity.
It's 9 p.m. here.
Okay, cool. And just for future reference, is this a pretty good time to catch you, or would it even be earlier be better for you?
No, this is fine. Definitely.
Good.
It's like sometimes like I really want to go on Cole Eastwood's podcast, but he podcasts at like 2 a.m. for me. So it's just never gonna happen, man. But 9 is perfect time for me. This is when we do the Xbox 2 podcast, and you know, so sometimes I'll be like, I'll have gotten up really early the day before, and 9 o'clock's like, I'm dragging. But today I got up at 4 p.m. So to me, it's like midday right now.
There you go. Fantastic. That's great. And to be clear to everybody, the reason, because people say, "Are you doing a show tomorrow night?" Yes, we're doing a show. Sunday's show is still going on. Not a problem. And to be honest with you, we might do these occasionally. We talked. Me and Hargeet have talked in the past about this. It just happened to work out. Fonz is doing a move, so he was able to he was free as well. And there's a lot of great content creators that are in England and different parts of the country and the world that we'd love to have on. And this gives us our opportunity to give JEZ a forum today. So speaking of Hargeet, I want to say welcome out my co-host, my favorite Jedi in the world, Hargeet Chani. Hargeet, buddy, how's it going?
It's going well. Yeah, just got off of Sea Money and Doodles last night. It's Sea Money's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Sea Money.
Exactly. Happy birthday, Sea Money.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll get into this fun topic.
There we go.
Paris's favorite.
I know. Yeah, bring that back up on the screen again. What he just put. Game Pass is ruining gaming. Xbox is doomed. Wow. See, you know, and I did invite Paris to be on today to see if he was available, but he's going to be on Gaz's show later on today.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So yeah, exactly. Which I definitely want to tune in for that after this. I'm just saying. I'm just teasing. But yeah. So but Paris apparently he's already ready to be fired up for Gaz's show. He's getting warmed up.
Gaz asked me to go on his show last week, and I was like, "Oh yeah, when? Saturday?" And he's like, "Oh wait, I got a barbecue." So he's like double booked himself.
There you go.
Gaz's show is always fun.
Exactly. And that's the thing too. it's all about time, and that's the best way to actually build a channel and to also, build friendships and relationships with great members of the community, is to just try and make it a time that's available for them. So enough of my ramblings about that. So welcome out. Corkenstein's in the chat. Hello, Cork. Let me know if you're busy tomorrow night. We'd love to have you on as a guest. Howdy, y'all. There we go. So yeah, Silent Cypher is definitely going to be locked in for tomorrow as well. So tomorrow night show is going to be really good. And then in 2 weeks, Hargeet, not this coming Sunday, but the next Sunday, Walgerman is going to be on. So we're going to have him on as a guest. Yeah. And he's going to be talking about his new channel that he's starting. So that's kind of cool. We're excited for that. Alex is a big part of helping get the community game fest going with Hargeet and with Ben and a whole bunch of others, Shaun, Labrie, and a whole bunch of others that were a big part of that. So, and hopefully next year, I know you guys are already starting in the works to plan it for next year's, which will be even bigger and better as the fan part. And if we get JEZ there, that would be awesome too. Love to have him hang out with us. Yeah. And maybe even Rand, if you're there, I'm just gonna throw the gauntlet out there. Rand, we will give you an incentive to show up.
So if this is about competition, let us have competition.
That was the wrong soundbite, but it still sounded good. That soundbite I was gonna play was this one.
The man, the million.
Oh yeah, Randall Thor 19. Yeah, okay. I'll quit playing my buttons. Can't help it. Okay, so so let's get this started. I'm gonna kind of set up the first part of this question, and then we're gonna go around the horn. We'll start with JEZ's opinions, and plus we also have a few and a lot of great articles you've been writing, JEZ. Really appreciate it when we get kind of some quote unquote news that dropped yesterday, which everybody's like, why more bad news? But is it really that bad? We'll just have to we'll talk about it. So let's see. So the let's start off with topic. I guess would be like the real state of PlayStation. So what is going on with PlayStation now? PlayStation is obviously, Sony is a huge brand. In other words, it is worldwide recognition. Sony PlayStation is a gaming console, and it's why it's one of the dominant consoles in the industry today, and it's they're like number one in console sales worldwide. Although some people would argue some of their current numbers are maybe a little fudged as far as how many units they've actually have in people's hands, especially when they even said themselves that their Portal handheld, which is not a console but requires a console, was sold as a console SKU, so that actually pads their console sales numbers. But I'm not an analyst. I don't know. Seems a little funny. And is the number that they have out there, the 70 plus million units, is that sold units turned on, or still some units sitting in a warehouse somewhere? I don't know. We'll that'll be, I guess, up to the future to figure that out. But the state of PlayStation today, where they at? How's it going? How is things today? I mean, a lot to talk about here. So JEZ, I'll get you started. We'll go round table. So we'll kind of bounce back and forth. I won't just put you on the spot and have you dump all your knowledge. But what do you think the state of PlayStation is right now? Do you think it's healthy? And what are they doing? And what could be better for them?
Well, I don't really cover PlayStation very much, so I'm not as intimately knowledgeable with the state of PlayStation as I would be with Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can speak to is like the existential crisis that the entire industry is having right now.
Perfect.
And a lot of people a lot of fanboys, whatever, they have this perception that everything's rosy and peachy with PlayStation and Nintendo as well to a degree. Nintendo is generally like happy doing its thing in the corner and whatever, but even Nintendo and its financials, they were talking about margins and boosting margins and things like that. And every platform holder's sort of got talking a lot about margins lately. It's like this common theme where it's like margins are squeezed, margins are squeezed, margins are squeezed. And if you zoom out and you look at like data coming out of analytics firms, like whether it's Newzoo in the UK or Matt Piscatella from MPD, Sakana now. Another common theme running through the industry is that there's a huge amount of competition for free time more than ever. Free time is the commodity that people don't have right now. So like even if money's not an issue, there's a huge competition for free time, and it's a combination of, you know, gaming platforms like Roblox and Fortnite vacuuming up all the time. I think Sakana said 40% of all the playtime hours of the last quarter went to just 10 games. And, you know, it's games like Roblox, Fortnite, you know, those kind of games, Call of Duty and Minecraft, which Microsoft owns, you know, those kind of games. And then you've also got like non-gaming activities like TikTok, Instagram Reels, Netflix, stuff like that, right? And each one of these platforms is constantly trying to win over people's time. So while Xbox and PlayStation are focused very hard on trying to steal users from each other, the sort of, you know, the average age of the core gamer now is like 40 years old, you know, us old people, you know. While Sony and Microsoft have been focusing really hard on trying to get those people, they've allowed an entire generation of gamers to filter away and flow away to Roblox and stuff like that. And, you know, Roblox is on PlayStation, it's on Xbox, but it's also like on iPad, and it's also on web, it's also on, you know, just a PC launcher as well. And because it's such a social game, kids want to have a keyboard present. So increasingly they play it on laptops and things like that. And, you know, you can run Roblox on a potato. It's not a graphically intensive game, right? So it's kind of like that's the existential problem that PlayStation's having to confront with. And I think like the real thing that underpins all this, like if everything was, you know, all good at PlayStation, if everything was all good, they wouldn't be putting Helldivers on Xbox, because we're constantly told that nobody buys games on Xbox, nobody plays games on Xbox. We're constantly told this, and PlayStation itself thinks that Helldivers is worth selling on Xbox. You know, that just underpins everything to me. So I do think Helldivers is potentially a unique case in part because I think it will over-index on Xbox because of it's very Halo coded. You know, it's got that whole ODST thing going on, and I think Helldivers specifically will do very well on Xbox. But I think you're kidding yourself if you think like this is the last PlayStation game coming to Xbox. PlayStation is set up now as a publisher on Xbox, PlayStation Publishing LLC, and Helldivers is going to be the first of many games that come over to Xbox because it's free money. It's free money for them, man. So, you know, I think PlayStation is better positioned to weather the transition that the industry is going through because it's got such a huge user base of active participants. But every company's come at this from a different direction. I think Nintendo said something like they want to continue making games that are like more affordable to make, you know, games that don't have, you know, Hollywood grade graphics or Hollywood grade actors and all that kind of stuff. Just focus on the pure fun, and they're doing really well with it. That's the kind of games they make, and they absolutely nail that entire segment. And then PlayStation has been putting games on PC with increasing rapidity and cadence. Like before it was like, you know, we're going to put games on PC months or years after the fact, and now it's day and date on PC to maximize the margins on the marketing budget, right? And then it was like with Xbox, it was like Xbox was the lowest on the ladder, so they went to PC much more quickly because that's where they're finding their margins. And Xbox is like, we got to sell software on more platforms because we have the smallest install base within our closed ecosystem. So, you know, as PlayStation looks to expand in its own margins, because games are very expensive to make, especially kind of games that PlayStation's good at making, very expensive to make. They'll increasingly look at more places to sell the games. And for all of the criticism Xbox gets, it's not losing users. It's not losing any users because people are happy with what they've got. You know, for the cost of user acquisition is so high for every platform now that people just tend not to switch. There's plenty of games to play where people are to the point where no single game is going to make someone permanently switch to one of the platforms. Maybe they'll do like what Rand does and play PlayStation just for like Death Stranding or one game a year. But their primary platform now everyone's sort of got their primary platform that they're going to stick with. So I think what you'll probably see from PlayStation in the short to medium term is more games coming to Xbox and other platforms more quickly. But I also think you could end up seeing more games like Astrobot, which try to target the younger audiences, because increasingly I think like the platform holders have realized they've really dropped the ball on targeting the new generation. That entire generation has gone to Roblox, and they are not going to grow up with nostalgic feelings about PlayStation or Xbox. So I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing the platform holders reconsider their approach to youngsters. I mean, Microsoft's got Minecraft, right? So Microsoft's in a unique position there. But PlayStation especially, I think we'll see more Astrobots and stuff like that, because I know so many like parents, like Gembox360 on Twitter was talking about how much her kid, a 4-year-old, absolutely loved Astrobot, man. So, but I think PlayStation will be just fine and dandy. Xbox will be fine too. It's just we're in this weird transitionary period. It's almost generational. It's almost generational the way just an entire generation of people have come to purchasing age, and they're just not interested in a console. That's the existential problem.
Yeah, no, it's and that's a really strong case. I definitely agree with what you're saying 100%. They have gone away. That's why I think a lot of people like Mr. Boomstick and people are pushing for like, get out of Banjo game, because Banjo's there. It was popular, and it's something that's could easily be brought up to date and, brought up to where, I know it's not Banjo bro type thing. I know Paris is in the chat. He's excited, but that way you could definitely, take advantage of that situation that does lend itself to, and I think it's spot on. Hargeet, we'll get to your, what are your thoughts about the, let's see, the real state of PlayStation today, and then we'll kind of go back.
First, let me just do this and shout out Lord Starkiller, gifted 20 WebDave memberships. Thank you so much.
For real,
and then we got awesome. a renewal from Sith Lord for membership for 19 months. Awesome.
It is awesome.
All right, so echoing most of like what Jez said, basically, like they're in a decent financial position. They're in a decent market position. They are projecting lower revenue next year. That's their forecast, which is an interesting point. Generally, they have been trending upwards, but I guess they're projecting it to go down. A lot of that from hardware sales will decline, and they're hoping that they get more revenue from their first party games. Now, part of that was intended to be Marathon. That has now since been delayed. We don't know how long, whatever, but I don't know that Marathon was really going to win anyway. I don't know where Fair Games is, but they do have Ghost of Yote, and hopefully that will help. I don't know that Lost Soul Aside is going to really rack up a lot of sales. I'm looking at the pre-order numbers, and it's really low. So I don't know that that's really gonna give them a lot. DS2 didn't chart. Sorry, it's just the way it is. It did not sell well. We will. It
didn't chart at all.
It did not chart, so it's not in the top 15, 20, whatever that you normally come out.
When did it launch?
It launched. What was it, a few weeks?
Probably hasn't had enough time to chart yet, right?
It's possible, but it did not chart. Death Stranding 2 release date was 24th of June. So about a month.
Yeah, not enough time probably. We'll probably see it next month.
So maybe it does come up, but that is kind of how it is.
June 26th.
So that's kind of where they are. I don't know where those are going to help them or not, but hopefully Yote sells. Of course, it's in a very crowded time with a lot of other releases. So but hey, it is their big marquee one game a year thing that they do. Granted, they have MLB The Show, but that's kind of their thing. We'll see if that helps them. And then they were hoping to gain a lot from the expected release of a certain Take-Two title. That did not happen. It's going to move to next year. So I don't think that's going to help them. So whatever, we'll see what the revenue looks like next year. But they were predicting, even with all those, they were predicting it to be down, not like insignificant amount for next year, which is a very odd place. Generally, you generally want to see that increase. It's now going to decrease. Okay, that's an interesting inflection point for them. We'll see what that means. You can also see that they've decided to change a lot of their strategy around the gaming world. If you watch their whatever the round table thing they did when they were all sitting on a sofa talking, with a very scripted thing with a host there. One of the things that came up was a change from Hiroki Totoki saying that we're not going to have our games be a platform enabler and marketing tool. We're going to shift that to a profit growth driver. That is something that is showing now, right? Paris was on with Dirt and Shaun, and I had super chatted that, hey, they didn't even bother showing this on the Pro. With Yote, I think this shift is everything. He took it as some sort of console worry thing. No, I think this is exactly. I think the guy was M who was like, I'm done. I'm not buying a PlayStation 6 because I have a PC. And I'm like, you're right, because look, the intent of that was that games would be made tailored to those boxes to showcase the boxes. Well, I think they've moved past that. I don't think they care about that anymore, right? That's why they didn't even bother showing it on the Pro. They're like, we're not going to waste time making this game shine the most on PlayStation when we know it's coming to PC, when it'll likely show up on other freaking platforms maybe later than that, right? So I think they've already made that shift. They don't care anymore. They're not going to make the game like really push your PlayStation 5 or PS5 Pro. AC Shadows looks better than Yote, and that's just granted from a presentation, not from the game being out. But there's a clarity difference you can just see if you look at the trailers they've shown and what they've shown so far, and you look at what AC Shadows does, right? You look at GTA 6 and all they've shown is PS5 footage. It looks much better, right? So, but that's the way it is. And so I think they've decided that's over. So what M was saying, he's right. They've stopped that. They don't care about that anymore. They've changed it to, hey, we want to make money off of our games. And I got to agree with them. Like, these games cost too much. You can't just take a bet and say, I'm going to keep spending more money to make it look better. When, like you said, Jez, they've already acquired them. They already have their the install base. The acquisition's done. They don't need to reacquire. Are they going to move? We'll see, right? Will the next console be something that a lot of these fans decide not to engage with? It's a possibility, but it's not as high a possibility as the likelihood that they'll just buy it anyway, right? That's probably the more likely scenario. And from a financial perspective, is it better to make more money off of that game than is it to say, okay, I made it a marketing tool. I might not get as much margin, or I might take a little bit of a loss, but I made more console sales. Is that a better thing? I don't know, right? As you were saying, Jez, like the market has moved to these black hole games. That's where they spend their time. Are they really going to get the revenue they were expecting from game sales? Probably not. Hopefully they get it from microtransaction sales. Jim Ryan was running around all over the world saying, oh my God, if Call of Duty were to ever be hampered in any way on our platform, it would be the end of PlayStation. Those are his words, not mine. That's what he was saying, right? So why is that? Because that's how they sustain themselves. They need that microtransaction money. They need that money from selling Call of Duty. They need that 30%. Well, at that time, 20%, right? Because that's how they drive their profits. And, if that model is going to continue, it would just be a problem for them. They can't keep taking those profits and piling them into their games. Their games need to be profitable on their own. And you can see that in all the cancellations, all the Concord being killed off in 2 weeks. It is what it is, right? This is kind of the world they're in. They have to be more cognizant of how they spend their money and get it back, right? There has to be a return. So we will see how they continue with that. They have a very strong brand. You got to keep that in mind. They still have a very strong brand. When you look at Xbox in the US, yep, it's pretty good. You go anywhere else, and I've been around the world, Xbox is an absolute joke. It's not even mentioned. Nobody cares. It is PlayStation, Nintendo to a level. That's it. They don't even think about Xbox. You go to Asia and talk about Xbox. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Like, what the hell is that? They're not going to even bother. Okay. UK is probably the second best market, and that's like 10-15%. It's nothing. It's so small in comparison to the US. That's it. So Xbox has no market. That's just the problem, right? So if you want that to expand, that's up to them to figure out how to make that happen. Perhaps this shift to allow PC, Steam engine, Steam and other stores on there. Maybe that helps. Maybe, using Windows as a vector, that's a potential. But when you look at the brand of PlayStation, it's very, very strong. So I don't think that's going to like just dissipate. The problem is we will dissipate. That's their problem. We are the ones who buy their platform. That is going to eventually go away. And when the younger generations come up, they don't give a shit about this. They just want their games. And like, Jez, you were mentioning the Roblox effect. Like, yo, this is where they are. They don't care, and they want to play that anywhere. If they're at grandma's house and they have like your grandma's phone, they want to play on grandma's phone. They don't care. They just want to play. They don't care. They just want to play the game, and they're not looking for, oh, do you have a Nintendo? Do you have a Xbox or a PlayStation? No. Well, where can I get access to my game? That's all that matters. Like, and any device should be able to play their games. Now, that is something that Xbox has fully embraced. They're like, yep, let's just go there. Wherever they are, let's just go there. PlayStation is begrudgingly doing the same. That's just where it is, right? They're just slower to adopt it, but they're begrudgingly doing the same thing. They're moving towards the same thing. You can get their games on cloud. You can get their games on PC, and they will eventually kind of adopt the open model. It's gonna take some time for them, but they're gonna be there too. Will they allow cross entitlement? We'll see. Hopefully they do, right? But I think this is gonna be kind of an interesting mix for them. But they're pushing in that direction, right? So Nintendo's the last holdout. We'll see how long that lasts, right? But I think PlayStation's still in a good enough position. As a publisher, their games still rate really well, with a couple of clunkers here and there. That's fair, but mostly their games rate really well. So when they do put something out, it's generally pretty good. Unlike Concord, unfortunately, failed miserably. But there are like Astrobot, even though it didn't sell well, was Game of the Year, right? So they do put out good games. So hopefully that continues and they can keep that level up. We'll see how Yote does. It looks good enough to me. It's not like a graphical showpiece, but who cares? Is the game good? Donkey Kong isn't a graphical showpiece. Who cares? Is it a good game, right? That's what matters. And hopefully, it comes up that way. And I'm still looking forward to it. I want to play Yote when it comes out. Not on PlayStation. I will buy it when it comes to PC. But when I hope it'll be a good game. So that's kind of what they do. Hopefully they can keep doing that. If their games are profitable on their own, they're sort of keeping that as a separate track now. It's not an enabler of the PlayStation console ecosystem. That's actually kind of good for them. However, there will be a lot of fans who don't like that, and those few fans, too bad for you. That's basically what they've already said. It's just, it is what it is. That is kind of gone. I kind of applaud them for realizing that this is kind of the world and they need to kind of move forward. It's you can see that the leadership has been changing quite a bit over there. And that's probably why they have to change that mindset of, hey, we're going to attack Xbox versus no, we're going to go make money. And that unfortunately, like, the old stuff, like Peter Moore was on with Paris and Danny talking about, like, in the 360 era, they really leaned into the console war. And, that was kind of a fun thing they were doing to try to gain customers from the other side. Those days are kind of over, right? Because like the budgets for these games are too big. You can't now take the risk and say, hey, you know what? We'll just make this game as a marketing tool. Okay, that's cool when it's like $30 million. It's not cool when it's $300 million. It's just not. It's not sustainable to do that anymore. So you have to take that into account and say, no, we're going to try to make money off of the game. The platform will exist if the platform makes sense to exist, and let it, compete on its own. And that's kind of the world we're in. It used to be you had cartridges and they were stuck in each box and you couldn't take the game over or what. Fine. That world's over. These are all PCs. They can all run the game. It just doesn't matter now. You just have to port it over, make sure it works right, and put it on the other platform and get your money. That's kind of the way it is. To what Jez was saying about people don't buy games on Xbox, these are all metrics that people figure out from like the UK sales and retail. And I'm like, you understand that you have to take that into context of they have like 10 to 15% of the market. Of that, half the consoles are freaking digital only with the Series S. That's how much you're going to get. You can't just say, oh, they only sold 10%. Yeah, but 10% of a very small market share, that's actually normal. The attach rate's the same. You can't just compare them as just that raw number. You have to put it in context. So it's not like, people on Xbox don't buy games. Not that we have to justify buying games. Who cares? But, ultimately it's if the company, the publisher thinks there's value, they'll put it there. And apparently enough companies and publishers do think there's value. That's why they put their games here on the Xbox ecosystem. So I'm not sure that that's actually an issue, but, whatever. Now we're going to have Steam anyway. So I doubt many publishers are going to say no to Steam. Good luck. So I think that kind of is over anyway. But we'll see how this continues. I'm much more excited about where Xbox is going because it's more open and I can choose platform that I like. In other words, if I want more performance, that might be available to me. That's cool. Like I can just choose that, right? If I want to build my own and use the Windows new capabilities that they're bringing, that's awesome too, right? So, it's just more of a gamer-friendly environment. Will PlayStation do well with that? I think they'll start competing with that. I think they're going to start doing the same thing. I hope they do. I hope they decide to actually compete on this and not stay locked down and thou shalt buy from the PlayStation Store thing, because they could easily go to Steam and do the same bloody thing. They just have to go do it, right? So up to them. But we'll see. We'll see. They seem to be a little bit behind. Oh, and Jez dropped out.
Yeah, so he's had some issues with his headphone. I think he'll be back.
All right. But yeah, so I think that like again, they're in a good position. It's not like, all right, I can bring him back. All right, can you hear us now?
Cool.
All right. Yeah, so hopefully, your headphones. So yeah, hopefully they'll compete a little bit better, but I think they are still in a very good position. I don't want to say that they're going to be like dead or anything. However, things are transitioning, and they do have to over the next decade or two kind of figure out how they're going to get to that new market and figure out how to do that. And they're doing it. They're just a little behind what Xbox is doing. The other side of this is content, and I don't know how they can realistically fix that. They don't have Big Daddy Microsoft behind them. Sony uses PlayStation as a profit driver. Xbox is kind of becoming that now for Microsoft. But again, if Xbox were not there, Microsoft would still be insanely profitable. So they obviously have the capital to go buy a Minecraft, to go buy an ABK. That is not the same, at the same level on PlayStation side. They still have they even finished paying off Bungie yet? I don't even know if that's the case, think so. Right? And they had trouble trying to get Kadokawa. That didn't work out. They were trying to get Paramount. That didn't work out. If they wanted to get Roblox, which is like $40-50 billion, that wouldn't be a thing that they could do, right? But lucky for Microsoft, they struck at the right time and bought Minecraft. And that has been very useful for them. So I don't know that in a content war, that PlayStation could readily or easily match up with their competitors, which if you look at Nintendo, they put out a lot of first-party games every year, and Xbox is following suit, right? So, they're going to have that 8 to 10 to 12 first-party games, both platforms every year. I don't think the PlayStation can really keep doing that. So, they're putting out, was it 4 or 5 this year? And more than half of that is is third-party lockdowns. So I don't know that can sustain them. We will see, but that's really kind of the thing they're going to do, and that's why they have to really make profits for those games. So maybe they can start opening up smaller things. Maybe they can start making smaller, quirkier games. I like those quirkier games. That's kind of disappointing that's gone. But it is what it is. That's kind of where they are. I still think they have a very strong brand. I'll also say this: you never know. Like, strong brands have died in the past. Nothing can keep things perfectly aligned. Like, look at where they are on TVs, right? They used to be the top TV.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't even freaking measure anymore. The top TV brands are now LG, Samsung, Hisense, and TCL. They're the vast majority of TVs, and Sony doesn't even rank. And that's where they are. And it's crazy that's the place they're in, but that's the way it is, right? So you never know, but I still think they're kind of in a strong place. The whole digital library thing, I put some stock into, but not really a lot, because it's so cheap to rebuy a game that you might want to replay on Steam. It's so cheap. So it's why would I care? If I want to buy a 15-year-old game, it'll cost me $5. Whoop-de-doo. Am I really going to stay on an old box for that? No. So, right. So that's kind of the thing. Yes, it is possible that people have an emotional attachment to some sort of digital library, but realistically, it's just not that big a deal. How many games do people buy? You're not buying 2,000 games. You're buying 5, maybe 10. So you might have a library of 40 games you care about. I guarantee you can buy those for $300 on Steam. So it's just, it is what it is. So, and that's the less than half the cost of a new console. And just putting it in perspective, right? So the PS6 is likely going to be $700-800. You have to do the math yourself. Again, it's just so much more convenient to have the access anywhere, right? Versus say, no, I'm locked into this ecosystem. The downside is saves, right? But then again, is PlayStation that great on that? No, not really. You have to pay for freaking cloud saves. Anyway, that's a whole other headache.
True.
But yeah, so that's kind of where it is. There's a lot of people who love their PlayStation brand, but there are a lot of people who just buy it because that's what they know, and they play those black hole games. Could that transition? Absolutely. 100% it could transition. Heck, it could transition to Switch too. You never know, right? That's another pretty well-recognized name. And, Nintendo still has a pretty, compelling library of games, and they put out a lot of games every year. They just put out a lot of games. So it is possible that could happen too. But I don't know. There's just this association, and I think mentally people are still there, our generation at least. I don't know what happens as they move forward. So they do have to, figure out what they want to do in 20 years. But that's a long time. They have time to figure this out. So,
and we know they've course corrected in the past. So, there's definitely a possibility for that. So, welcome out to over 230 people watching us live. Thank you all so much for being here. We greatly appreciate you joining us today with a special edition of the Gamers Council. Yes, tomorrow's show is still on. We'll definitely be there as well. But we wanted to have JEZ on to talk about some current topics. And JEZ, anything else that you wanted to maybe throw in, sent ever Hargeet's comments or follow up on from his comments?
I think one aspect of the future of gaming for both platforms that I think a lot of us are overlooking, a lot of us in our cohort, is cloud gaming. I don't know if either of you have tried Xbox cloud gaming lately, but it's really getting there. I've only got, I think I've got 200 meg down in Germany, and our Wi-Fi signal's not the best. They've got really thick walls here, and especially games with a fixed camera perspective, they run pretty much flawlessly now. I play Cult of the Lamb on my phone before I go to sleep. 2D game, sure. And I think the algorithm handles the picture quality better when the camera is a fixed perspective, because it doesn't have to update all the pixels. You can just shift the image across or something. But even 3D games, I completed Warhammer 40k Space Marine remaster. I played the whole game on cloud, the whole game, and that's a 3D shooter, right? And it was fine. It's not as good as GeForce Now, but it's right on the cusp of it, man. And I really think like that's where Microsoft and potentially PlayStation 2 could find a lot of new users. But like it feels like Xbox is pushing really, really hard in that direction, more so than PlayStation, because it already has the data centers. They don't have to rent any data centers. They can just use their own data centers, and they're building even more data centers. And the closer the data centers are to the user, the lower the latency is, right? My TV came with xCloud built into it, and all you need is a Bluetooth connection. And the next generation of Xbox controllers, which is the Elite 3, the standard controller, and I think there might even be another controller. I'm not sure. There's a third controller in the works. I'm not sure if it's sort of like an Elite Core kind of controller or if it's something even cheaper than the standard controller. But all the next generation controllers have direct to Wi-Fi capabilities like the Stadia controller did. So you don't even need Bluetooth. So you lose that latency from Bluetooth and you connect straight up to the cloud. So I can see like a future where Samsung TVs come baked with Xbox built in, Xbox Cloud, and they come with a controller. They come with a prepared controller like the MetaQuest did with the prepared Xbox controller. Direct to the TV, and then like, yeah, Hargeet's got it, yeah. And then like with a guide on how to connect the controller to your Wi-Fi to get better latency. And I think you'll get even more new users like that. And just tell people like you can get Roblox through cloud on your TV, cloud only subscription. I think they'll get a huge amount of new users that way. And if PlayStation doesn't have its own cloud, maybe I can get Helldivers through Xbox Cloud on my TV as well, and Sony can sell games to me that way.
But they do have it, right?
There's a load of transitions coming up.
They do have cloud, and remember they went into cloud first.
They did. They both
kind of botched it a bit, right? But
they just don't have the data centers. They just don't have.
That's true.
I have to rent those data centers from other companies, which eats into the margin.
It's costly. Yep.
Yeah, and the margins ain't great on cloud today. Like it's expensive to run the cloud. How someone in chat was talking about there's no stock of Xbox consoles in that country, and that's because a lot of the silicon's gone to the cloud, right, instead of into Amazon, because it's all the same silicon. But the next generation of cloud, it's going to be PC based, more PC based. So I think like you'll see better resolutions, better bit rates, and then more partnerships with LG and Samsung, and you'll see a huge boost there. I don't know what PlayStation will do or if PlayStation is even confident in that, but I suppose we'll see. I think it's something to watch either way. I'm bullish on that shit.
That's cool. Yeah, that's it.
All right, let's catch up on these.
Yes.
WebDave gifted WebDave memberships.
I did.
Then Corkenstein gifted 5 WebDave memberships.
Thanks, Cork.
Thanks, buddy. Abdel renewed for 8 months. Then P-Lump waiting for his theme song. $2.
Wait a minute. Let's see if I got it handy. Here we go.
They see me rolling. Watch him rolling. Watch him go. Watch him rolling. Watch him go. He'd be rolling down the street. He'd be rolling to the beat.
There we go, P-Love. That's your theme song, at least on our show. Welcome, buddy.
Speaking of Wagerman, there he is. Became a member.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate that. I think there was another one. There you go.
Joel Shell also became a member. And then Waterman, $5. Do you think Xbox would link the GeForce Now games, Steam games, etc., like GeForce Now does, and allow the games that overlap with cloud to be playable? I don't know who
you guys think.
Well, you can like PC Game Pass is already linked to GeForce Now. So if you log into GeForce Now, you can link your PC Game Pass and play your PC Game Pass games.
Yeah.
In GeForce Now with your Xbox Cloud saves, if you want to get really complicated. So like when I was playing Expedition 33, xCloud wasn't quite good enough to land some of the tighter parry windows. So what I did was I linked my PC Game Pass to my GeForce Now and then played my Xbox version of Expedition 33 on GeForce Now, which is a bit faster, just enough for the parry windows, right? So I think there is some of that. I don't know how deep Microsoft will go towards integrating GeForce Now, because they're direct competitors in essence, right? But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, man.
On the console,
maybe
they
Sony
do
partners
it, right?
with GeForce Now more closely. Sorry, what?
On console, they already do it, right? You can use GeForce Now for some of the stuff on the console. I'm pretty sure, right? You can actually access.
I think you can load GeForce Now up in Edge on the web browser. I don't know how well it works. The last time I tried, Edge didn't have enough RAM to run it properly, but that was a long time ago. So maybe they've made some optimizations there. Because Edge doesn't run in the game hypervisor, it runs in the app hypervisor, which doesn't have access to all the system resources. So I don't know if it runs that well, but I don't know. The next Xbox presumably will run it perfectly.
There you go. I know we got a bunch more chats and memberships that just dropped. Real quick before we go on with that, just to let you guys know, I dropped our membership to $1. So because I wanted to have more people have access to emojis, which we've got I think almost 30 emojis now available, and we're going to add more and more as we continue to grow. And it's only $1. So if you want one for yourself, if you didn't get one, it's just $1 to join. Obviously, you as long as you want. You don't have to if you want to, but have fun with the emojis that are available on the YouTube channel. And of course, if you gift them, it's just $1 to gift, which used to be $5, which I thought was kind of tight. But since they made the adjustment, we've seen a huge spike. We now have over 800 members compared to the 100 and something we had. So makes a big difference, and I think it's a good thing to do, because it's not about the money. Is to be honest, it's more about the community and building a community, and that's what we're trying to do here. And like I said, we're on the road to 4K. Hopefully, we'll get there soon. But we'll see. Right now, we got almost 250 people here watching us live, which we greatly appreciate. And just let everybody know, this is a special edition of the. Sorry, we'll go back to the gifted membership in 1 second. But of course, we got to highlight the trash talking Paris Lily. Hey Paris, what's up? Paris in the chat. Paris, what's up? Xbox is doomed. Paris. Didn't you have a paycheck from Microsoft? Just curious. All right, go ahead, Hargeet. I'll let you continue. Oh, just kidding. It's all jokes. There we go.
Game Seeker gifted 5 WebDave memberships. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
And then Mac renews his membership for 6 months. And then Mac City Entertainment gifted 5 WebDave memberships.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we got another member, another new YouTube member, Knight of Cypher.
There you go.
Oh, that was you. You did that.
Yeah.
Checked in clear.
Checked in clear. What do you mean checked in clear? Oh man, yeah. Well, they got to cut back somewhere. Oh, hour. Anyway, all right, that was messy. Yeah, of course, Jazz, I did make you a moderator as well. Walking around, I'm gonna make you a mod too. That way, you'll have admin powers. So, just to do that as well. So, I guess, so yeah, I put a poll up. It was a little messy. Is PlayStation in trouble? We had 179 votes. 69 or 68% said yes, and 32% said no. Of course, that was just kind of a vague question. What's the trouble? I don't really know, but yeah, we're just hanging out. We're having some questions today, getting to talk to a great member of the community, JEZ and Hargeet today. So excited for that, and thank you all for joining us. Almost like I said, over 250 people here joining us live, and this will also be up audio later. So if you listen later, please check out that. There'll be links in the description to how you can get a hold of JEZ and Hargeet. So guys, I guess with that, do you guys want to go move on to the next topic? All right, here we go. So very limited topics today because we just want to kind of focus on this because it's kind of broad. So let's get on to topic number 2 and the final topic for today. Of course, if you have some questions, we'll try and get those in as well. How Microsoft is setting up the future of gaming. That's basically the way it is. So because we know that, being not the market leader according to the trials and as far as console thing goes. But now they've shifted gears a lot. The purchase of ABK, a lot of people say, oh, it's the downfall of this, downfall of that. I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing, as far as a concert warrior would be, like Dirt and Shaun. Yeah, I could definitely see where they would be more adept to have the to have the console war live on. But still, there's enough people that are pissed off about stuff that I think they're gonna have plenty of content from now on. And of course, hearing from Dirt. Let's see.
If you like this video, please hit the like button.
Thanks, Dirt. But yeah, so with that said, though, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, from a financial standpoint, we hear that Microsoft is really getting closer and closer to getting the $4 trillion mark, which is insane. And in the past, it would be Microsoft, the Xbox division probably was kind of a hindrance, or it's there. Is it still worth it hanging around? And then they've made some changes, and now the future of Xbox and the platform of, we'll call it Game Pass as part of their business model, is really seemed to grow that. So last, I think, some quarterly numbers were so really good for the Xbox division, so much so that they're continuing to double down and continuing to invest in Game Pass. I don't think it's hurting the industry, but that's just my opinion. Let's find out what JEZ Corden would like to say about this. So, how Microsoft is setting up for the future of gaming, sir? The floor is yours.
Well, I already talked about the cloud aspect, and this kind of feeds into the way Microsoft kind of views its key performance indicators now. Over the past week, I became privy to a sort of all hands meeting that Microsoft had.
Nice.
Where they discussed with staff and took Q&As and stuff like that. And in the meeting, some of the quotes I was given included things like the way they've shifted to playtime hours as their key performance indicator. So it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with having as much time in their ecosystem as possible, and then driving the revenue on the back of that, because the more time someone spends on the platform, that correlates to revenue, essentially, right? And obviously, if they're spending time in the Xbox ecosystem, whether it's Candy Crush or Halo on console, they're not spending it somewhere else like Netflix or Roblox, right? Or if maybe they're playing Roblox on Xbox, right? But it's things like TikTok and Netflix and all of the kinds of activities that people can use their discretion to choose to do, essentially. So Microsoft's like, let's change our key performance indicator specifically to playtime hours spent, which is why, like, when Microsoft releases its financials, I think next week for the last quarter of their fiscal, they'll probably talk about playtime hours. Like last fiscal, they also said Xbox had record playtime hours right now. And, that's driven by things like cloud, having more access. It's driven by things like Xbox Play Anywhere, PC, being able to play on different kinds of devices, and also play on PlayStation, frankly. So I think but that's the thing, right? As part of these meetings, one of the questions that a staff member asked was, so does that mean you guys want us to just start making endless runner games, like Temple Run, where it's just like you keep running and running and running to pad those playtime hours, right? And the response to that was, and I think it was Matt Booty who said it. He said something along the lines of, "No, that's not what we want to do. We want to have more of every single niche. So more things like make sure that every single niche with the most passionate users are catered for. So it's things like Age of Empires, right? RTS, not the biggest genre in the world anymore, but the users are so passionate and they're really sticky and they spend a lot of time playing Age of Empires, So they're talking about like making sure every single niche is catered for, which was music to my ears, right? Because I'm someone who does like some of the more niche genres out there, survival games, automation games, stuff like that, right? Like I said earlier, I'm playing a shitload of Cult of the Lamb at the moment. Just love building my little cult, murdering the little animals. It's hilarious.
Nice.
But yeah, so variety is the spice of life for Microsoft. So I think like with regards to portfolio, you'll probably see more of that moving forward. But I also think like the era of announcing games early, like they did with Perfect Dark and stuff like that, you'll probably see less of that right now. And I was kind of theorizing that because people have been wondering what's going to happen to Contraband, because Contraband posted some job listings recently, right? So everyone's like, oh, that means it's definitely not cancelled. But like when I've been trying to get Microsoft to comment on what's the status of Contraband, they won't answer. And part of me is just thinking like they just don't want to talk about games anymore until they know for certain that it's actually going to ship, you know. Because they've been caught out so many times, and the industry that greenlit a lot of these projects just doesn't exist anymore, you know. So it basically looks like if they think a game isn't going to resonate or get the engagement or reduce the churn, Game Pass churn, offset against how much it's going to cost to get over the finish line, they're probably not going to, you know, talk about those games as frankly as they used to. But on the platform side, it's just they're going to offer a plurality of experiences. They're going to be everywhere all at once as much as possible in as many different ways as possible. That's why they've appointed Rowan Soanes to run the hardware division. And Rowan used to run the Windows OEM division. So it was her job to make Windows as usable as it could be for OEMs building laptops, PCs, tablets, whatever, all those other devices. So now it's her job to make Windows and Xbox better for OEMs to build gaming devices, essentially. So you're going to see more gaming devices in more different form factors than ever before. The whole campaign, I think this is an Xbox. I thought when that was announced, I thought it was premature, but it is the direction they're going in. Like there's Inside Xbox, which is a German publication, I think. They put out a report last week that Microsoft might release an Xbox branded OEM PC next year, gaming PC, not an Xbox. It won't run Xbox games, but it might be a Windows based gaming PC that sort of front loads Xbox Play Anywhere, front loads the Xbox experience, because the next step for Windows is that you'll be able to sort of turn the PC to run a full screen app from when it boots. So like I suppose the idea with this is like this is a gaming PC for your living room, controller first, and when you turn it on, it doesn't boot into Windows, it boots into the full screen Xbox app and goes straight to your games, right? So that's something I could see happening next year. I'm still trying to research if it's actually true or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. And also you've got the Xbox Ally, so you're going to get that coming out later this year, which again is going to boot straight into the Xbox app, full screen experience, controller first, and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if we see tons of TV-based PCs that are Xbox branded from all sorts of companies, Razer, Dell, whoever else. And I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, Microsoft, like we said earlier, Microsoft starts thinking about building games for younger audiences, you know, targeting them when they're younger and trying to build up some of that nostalgia. We've got Spyro Project on the way. With Toys for Bob still, apparently, seemingly that wasn't cancelled. And because I think Microsoft's pretty cognizant of the fact that they've pretty much abandoned that cohort or let Minecraft do all the heavy lifting. But yeah, I think that's basically the strategy for Microsoft. Is just be everywhere, inescapable, everything Xbox, everything subscription, and Game Pass leading the charge on all the different platforms. I think yeah, and I think they're quite optimistic about this strategy.
I like it. That's and that's good. That's good to hear. And it's thanks for sharing that your insight from your meeting too. That's cool that you're able to do it. But I mean, it makes sense. I mean, obviously, member of the press, and you know they want to get the narrative out there. And before I turn it over to Hargeet, the one thing I was going to ask you, we all know that there's A lot of different people spin the negative a lot, or go with the negative because it's clickbaity and all that kind of stuff. I've done it before too, a little bit to some degree, not to the extreme of Dreamcast guy with it. Xbox is dead and Xbox, the world is over and everything is bad because of Xbox. That kind of stuff. Xbox is causes tornadoes, whatever you want to, natural disasters, those kind of things. That's pretty much what he sells, and that's his thing. And he's admitted it, and but he's scum of the earth anyway. So with that though, do you see Microsoft, I guess, are they able to start getting out in front of a lot of this more? I mean, are they able to or is there something they need to do, you think, to really, they have a great product, they have a great service in Game Pass. What do they need to do to really drive that home, that it's not as bad as everybody thinks? And that was to you, Jez. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was Target. I think user education is an issue here to some degree, because Xbox Play Anywhere, is a confusing thing.
Right.
I was like Mr. X in chat says, apparently, Jez, they don't run all your Xbox games, and it's true. There are huge caveats with Xbox Play Anywhere. Like, for example, Fallout 4. When Fallout 4 got its big update last year, I was kind of hoping, it would be Play Anywhere now, so I can actually get my save files from my console to my PC and run it on my handheld and stuff like that, my Asus ROG Ally. But no, it's not Play Anywhere. And there's no easy way to know on the Xbox PC app at a glance what capabilities a game has. It's like you have to sort of dig through and look in the capabilities section, and it'll say what the capabilities are. But sometimes the capabilities that it does have won't be listed. Like Keeper's Toll, for example, which is a Vampire Survivors clone that I've been playing a lot of recently. It's not listed as Xbox Play Anywhere, but it actually is, which is really confusing. Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun as well is not Xbox Play Anywhere, but it does support Xbox Cloud Saves if you buy the game twice. So it's sort of like, it's really confusing. So, I think one of the big issues to this platform ecosystem that Microsoft's going to have to sort of bridge to some degree is getting all developers on the same page with some of this stuff. And I think it will get better moving forward, because when a game is Xbox Play Anywhere certified, as in you pay once, you get the game on Xbox and PC, and the cloud saves come with it, right? I think over time it'll get better, but there are still just so many outliers. Like Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, for example, was listed as Xbox Play Anywhere when it was first announced, and you could pre-order it as Play Anywhere. They removed Play Anywhere from it a few months ago for some reason, and it's like one of the first sort of Xbox Game Pass, Xbox marketing tie-ins that doesn't have Play Anywhere. So it's like the promise of Play Anywhere is really inconsistent right now, which I think, again, is one of the reasons why they're moving developers away from Xbox console development in the future and more towards PC, because the next system is going to be PC first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think next gen developers are basically told, look, you have to make your games Play Anywhere if you want to get the best out of this system. Yeah, and Balantone in chat says the Vessel of Hatred DLC for Diablo is not Play Anywhere as well. Yeah, that's another really annoying thing. I've had to buy Diablo twice, even though it's got cloud saves, because your save file just connects to your BattleNet. You have to buy the game on Xbox and then PC, and then you have to buy the DLC twice as well, which is really, really annoying. So there are a lot of outliers when it comes to that stuff, and I think they will hopefully improve it over time. But the whole concept of everything's an Xbox doesn't work unless all of my content, or as much of my content as possible, is available. I think cloud will solve a lot of this stuff, but I can't play cloud on a train or on a plane or whatever, So yeah, I think the ecosystem they're building is promising, but it's going to take time to really, really get there and fire on all cylinders.
Yeah. That almost sounded like a Dr. Seuss rhyme. Just kidding. Put a game on a train. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, good points for sure. Hargeet. So the question is, how Microsoft is setting up the future of gaming. Floor is yours, sir.
So not just gaming, not I guess not their platform, but you're thinking gaming in general. So I don't know that they are specifically doing that, but they are responding to the market. In some ways, they're pushing the market to adapt to what already is the expectation. So if you're a mobile player, you generally don't care that you change devices. You kind of just expect it to work. So no, that doesn't always happen if you go between Android and iOS, but it kind of is getting there. So you can log into your account and you kind of just get your stuff, right? That's kind of what people expect. A lot of things are free, right? You get the app from the store, and then you really just log in to get access to the stuff you have within that game or whatever, right? So it's kind of the world that people are kind of driving towards, and so they just recognize it and they're saying, hey, we should kind of push there too. One of their strengths has always been they have Windows. Right, it's the biggest gaming platform outside of mobile, right? So, and if you want to do high-end gaming, it pretty much is that platform. So they're just taking advantage of it and saying, why the heck aren't we merging? And this is why I've always predicted this was going to happen years and years ago. It was like the obvious next step is to just, if you didn't realize it, Xbox has always been kind of proto Windows. The first one wasn't really, but it kind of was. And then they just keep making it more and more Windows. They just add more features from Windows over into it. 360 added in some capabilities. Xbox One made it, hey, the apps section literally are Windows apps, right? And now you're just going to add the ability to say, hey, why don't you just bring in the stores that are on Windows? And now you've got that feature on your Xbox as well. Right. And while they're doing that, they're saying, hey, Windows, you can take advantage of what we've been doing on Xbox, and we'll give you the mode that most players on a handheld or even on a desktop that's under a TV want, which is give me that Xbox UI and I can then, take advantage of my full PC capability. Granted, it won't be as convenient unless it's a marked, designed for Xbox experience, right? But if you're building your own machine, at least it gets you most of the way there in having a controller experience instead of a keyboard mouse experience, right? These are good developments, but it just seemed obvious that was the next step. Merge the two a bit more, and you'll kind of get there. The other thing would be to take away the hesitation of publishers from having to do development specifically for Xbox. They started that with the Xbox One gen by saying the development kit's the same. We're making one development kit. You build your game for Windows. You can also just publish to, you can, in other words, create the code for Xbox Series S and X, and it backported back to Xbox One as well, right? So you had Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC all in one dev kit, right? That created a lot of problems too, because now the dev kit wasn't as mature. So you remember the beginning of the generation, the games weren't very well optimized, and you kind of still have that. Any games that really push on that newer model tend to not be as optimized on PC as they used to be. That's getting better and better, but I was kind of where it was. But that's the thing they're doing, is saying, hey, let's just take the barriers away and make it simpler for the publisher. Hey, you can put the game out on Windows, check a couple of boxes, and now it's on Xbox, right? And now you're not as annoyed and having to create the port for another device, right? The things that they still have to deal with is their certification process. It's a lot longer for Xbox to get something out than it is for Steam to get something out. That is a problem they'll just have to kind of contend with. What do they want to do? Do they want to continue with the clean certification, or let that go and allow whatever to get published? There's pros and cons to that, but that's for them to figure out, right? So as far as the future of Xbox itself versus what they're pushing the world to do, I do see the why do we need to have barriers? Let's put games everywhere thing being a good thing, right? I think that is something that's changing the mindset and saying, okay, why do I need to have Helldivers only on PlayStation? Why can't I have it on Xbox? Why can't I have it on Switch? And will PlayStation decide to put that on Switch too? I don't see why not. If it works on Xbox, right? Why not bring it to Switch 2 as well? This is kind of a thing that they're going to have to grapple with it on their side. Ultimately, those kind of games, especially ones that have multiple, multiplayer or live service capability, it just makes more sense to put them in as many places as you can to get as much money as you can, right? And get as much user engagement as you can. Like you were saying, Jez, they're looking for that. How much time are people putting into this game? The more players, the more time. That's the whole point, right? The more players across as many platforms, the more time, more people will give it attention. So that's kind of a good thing. We'll see how that continues, but they certainly are, forging that, as far as a platform as a standard, instead of saying we should fight Nintendo, fight PlayStation. They've said, no, our competitors are Amazon and Apple and Google. We've decided not to have Nintendo and PlayStation as our competitors. Instead, they're going to be our partners. And that's kind of the direction they've taken. Is that a good thing or bad thing for the industry? We will see. We will see how that goes, right? Competition is always good. It drives each other to do better things for the consumer. If they're all competing, that's in some ways a good thing for us. If they're cooperating, we'll see what that means as far as pricing, because generally that means they're not doing the right things for us from pricing perspectives. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be fine. But that is something to keep an eye on. I do like the direction they're going on, but like you said, Jez, there's so many execution problems that they have to iron out. There's a lot of stupid things that still haven't been fixed. So yes, Battle.net is separate from Microsoft Store. Why do I care? As a consumer, that's not my problem. Go figure it out. It's your thing, right? Fix it, right? So that if I have a game that's on Battle.net, I have it on Xbox. Like, why is that not already done, right? Again, I get it. It's time. It's execution. I get all that. But from a consumer perspective, it looks stupid, and you need to go fix these stupid little things, iron it out, make it clean, right? And again, it's all software. They can do it. They just have to focus on it and get it done. And that, changes the sort of overall industry landscape to say, I don't care if you're on the phone, if you're on the cloud, if you're on the handheld, if you're on a PC, if you're on a console, you get the same experience. That's good. That's a good thing to do. But there's a whole chasm of things they need to go through to actually get there, right? To make that leap. They will get there, I'm sure, eventually. But right now they're kind of in the middle of figuring things out. But they just kind of want to jump to the end and say we're play anywhere. Yes, with caveats, right? But I applaud it. I think it's good to push the industry that way. That's a good thing, because it kind of just meets the players where they want to be, right? So as new generations of players come in, that's kind of how they view it, right? So if I'm on Netflix, I've subscribed to Netflix. Do I care that it's on the TV, or if it's on the Xbox, or on the PlayStation, or on my PC, or on my mobile? No, I have the same service everywhere, right? I want the same service everywhere. I don't care. I just log in. I get my stuff, right? That's kind of the mindset they have. And I think that's going to be something that they'll have to adopt. And as I said, I think the other side's doing the same thing, right? But they're kind of a few years behind. They have to kind of catch up. Well, I think that's a good thing to sort of push the industry in that direction. As far as a platform itself, merging the large Windows platform with the console platform gives them an interesting opportunity. Like Jez, you were mentioning that they're kind of partnering with OEMs to make gaming devices. I think that's fantastic. And we will see what that does for differentiation, right? So hopefully people bring the energy, right? So you see like the difference between MSI versus Lenovo versus Asus versus Valve with the Steam Deck, right? How they've implemented things differently, right? And that's a good thing. You want to see differentiation and say, hey, well, I want the one with the OLED with the like little thumb pad with like whatever you want, right? So you want these things. Maybe that'll be delivered to you in a device, right? I want the thing I put under my TV, but it has to be a white console or a black or a purple one, or whatever it is, right? Yes, that's the beauty of the industry. When you leave it open, people will deliver what people want, right? So consumers can then, go choose what they like. I think that's cool versus the locked in for 7-8 years, whatever thing, right? Your Nintendo Switch, yep, that's all you got. That's what you're going to have until Switch 2, right? Whereas, here you're going to be able to say, no, I want the Lenovo version. That looks really cool. Oh, Alienware just made this really cool light up and blah, blah, blah thing. I want to get that. Okay, fine. Sure. That's a much better world to be in because now you have choices, right? So I like that kind of mentality. Hopefully they continue and make that happen. It works, right? I don't think PC is going away, right? Which is where Microsoft kind of wins. PC is there. They have it, right? Now you say, oh, but we don't get the store. You don't understand how much telemetry means to them. They know what you're doing on that machine. Trust me, they know what you're doing on that machine, right? So they know what games you're playing, how long you're playing them. And by the way, they still have those black hole games. Call of Duty still sells a lot. Minecraft still sells a lot. They keep making money. So they're making money on the gaming side. They're getting the information they need to say what games work, how do they work, what do people do with them. That's the stuff they want to have. And then they can make their own things with it, but they can also sell that data to others. This is how things are. It is what it is, right? So even if they're not selling you the game through their store, they are selling you games and they're getting that telemetry, which is very valuable. So they're happy that you're on their platform. That's what it is. And the world we're going into, remember, it's free to play games, right? With a lot of microtransactions. And that's kind of the world. So even if you were on PC, you may end up using their store because who cares where you get the game if it's free to play, right? You just have to buy the stupid, like, whatever V-Bucks or whatever it is, right? So, but either way, this is a different world. And that world we're going to, I guess JEZ is changing devices again.
Yeah, there he comes.
There he is.
Hello.
You're back. All right. So I think that's kind of where they're going. I think they are positioning themselves to sort of lead the industry in new directions. And while they're doing that, they have the library of games with a lot of live service that allows them to continue to drive revenue growth. So they're good there. They put out more games than most of their competitors, so that's a good thing. I think they're pretty well set up from that perspective. From a console only perspective, I don't know how long that's relevant. So I'm not sure if that's a 10-year runway, 20-year runway. At some point, like as you were saying, the cloud, right? Your TV is a console, just not one that plays games directly yet. Well, they do somewhat. You can get some Android games on it, right? And it's like, well, at what point is that good enough, right? At some point, your TV will have so much power. It's like, yeah, I can just play it there. I don't care, right? And whether it mixes some cloud capability, some local capability, I don't care, right? So you take your phone. Your phones are getting so powerful now. Your phone in 15 years will make an Xbox One or an Xbox Series look like garbage. So will that be enough for you to just play games locally while you're on a plane? Sure. Maybe it's more expanded when you're able to see actual, cellular data, or you're on Wi-Fi, that it gets enhanced even more. Fair enough. We don't know. We also don't know that things like, as I keep saying, one of these comes up and says, hey, we've disrupted the whole gaming world, and it's just a pair of glasses that is your phone, your games, your everything. It's all in one. You never think about a TV or a laptop or whatever. It's just this. That could happen too. We don't know, right? So you never know. And I think that's the thing that's kind of cool. The industry can always get disrupted. And Microsoft's positioning themselves that we don't care. Wherever you want it, you got it. So that's the world they want to be in, right? So you engage with them wherever you like to engage with them. So I think that's a good thing. Hopefully everybody else kind of joins in. The only two big holdouts here are PlayStation, who is halfway there, and then Nintendo, who is just totally in their own little ecosystem. But we will see if that shifts over time as well. If they really do want to kind of increase the quality of their games, then they're going to have to kind of contend with that cost as well. So we'll see. Right now, it works for them. Right, what they're doing for Switch, it works for them. Switch 2 is still doing well. Donkey Kong Bonanza came at 91 meta, or at least OpenCritic. So good for them. We will see how that continues. And again, if the world is pulling that, hey, we want things to be more open, giving the consumer what they want is always a good thing. So I'm hoping that resonates. But I think Microsoft is just kind of following that pattern, saying this is where they want to go. Let's go there. So that's a good thing, and hopefully they'll drag the other two along with them, kicking and screaming. But at least they will set the standard of saying, no, let's go ahead and put this stuff everywhere. We don't care. We want you to engage with our stuff. If you intend to, get a good platform that happens to give you all these other capabilities, great. We've got a box for you. You can go ahead and buy it, and it has all this stuff. We will OEM it as well. If you want somebody else's version of our capabilities, absolutely, right? Just like Surface, you can buy a Surface laptop. You don't have to buy a Surface laptop. You buy a Dell, you buy a Lenovo, buy whoever's. We don't care. It's fine. You're still going to get our experience. Maybe it's a little hampered in that, like, we can do things more tailored in our box, but whatever. You're totally welcome to buy theirs. We'll OEM with them, partner with them to do as good a job as we can on that box. No problem, right? So this is a great world for consumers, right? So choice is always good. Open competition between Lenovo and Dell and Alienware, and Dell is Alienware and MSI and all these other vendors gives you price competition as well, right? Hey, I want you to buy my box. I'm going to sell it to you as low as possible to make my profits work, right? So that's a good thing. So we will see how it goes. We see Apple trying to get into this fray, with Mac trying to get into the gaming world. As we already know, iOS earns umpteen billions in profit every year off of gaming with zero games. They just sell everybody else's stuff, but make a lot of money on other people's stuff, right? So they're still in it, but they're in a different position right now. We'll see if they come up. But as far as the gaming world, certainly Microsoft is pushing things, and Nintendo's kind of keeping the old style alive, and PlayStation somewhere in between. But I hope all of them do well. It's always good to have everybody compete. But I do like kind of the direction of let's pull it towards everybody gets what they want where they want it, right? That is kind of a better path. So we'll see if that works out, right? Hopefully it does. I'm a little bit more concerned, and JEZ, you mentioned this. Internally, there's a lot of push for higher profit margin. That is a bit of a concern for me, as far as not seeing hey, this is a consumer business. It's not going to be the enterprise. Hey, I sell Windows to enterprises and I get X amount of percent margin because they're kind of captured customers with millions and millions and millions of subscriptions and whatever. That is not the same case as consumer. A consumer decides things a lot more emotionally than through an Excel file of, do I buy Google or do I buy Microsoft? It's not the same world. So I hope they understand that. But if those profit levels, that margins that they need are set too ridiculously, that could cause a lot of problems for this model, right? So I hope they give Phil a little latitude and let the system work here, and understand that being in the consumer world is a little different, and it helps Microsoft's bottom line to have people think of Microsoft as a good consumer actor than a profit-driven only evil monster, right? You have to, they have to hopefully understand that. And so there might not be the same margins as a cloud or server systems or server software, but it also gives you a foothold in the next generation of consumer who's like, hey, I love Minecraft. Oh, that's Microsoft? Cool. I'll keep using Microsoft, right? But if you kind of make that into a problem with negative stuff, it's not going to be great. So I hope they understand that. That's my major concern with them right now, is that profit-driven thing. And understood, they spent 80+ billion or whatever it is with all the acquisitions they've done. I get that. But they also have to understand it's a consumer world. You're going to have to think about it differently. And the margins can't be 30%. That's just not going to happen. Even like 20% is ridiculous. So I don't know what they're looking for, but I'm hoping that's not going to cause this whole thing to come crashing down. So, but that's it. That's kind of what I think. I think they're doing things right. Phil is a great leader as far as like the vision, but there are Microsoftness things that you have to deal with. Right. So, so hopefully that doesn't cause it to be a problem. But overall, it's a great direction. I like having everything everywhere. That's great. I'm excited for new hardware. Unlike some people out there who say that who the heck wants an Xbox? I want every one of the Xboxes. I just
Me
bought
too.
the freaking Xbox Meta Quest, right? So I'm looking forward to that ROG Xbox Ally. So let's do it.
There you go. There you go. A couple of quick things. First of all, welcome out to almost 300 people that are here watching us live right now. Thank you so much for joining us on a Saturday afternoon with Hargeet, Chani, and JEZ Corden. This is it's a very special show today, and we appreciate JEZ's time coming on. We're gonna wrap things up here in just a second. We're gonna get to one more quick little, I guess, question. We're gonna, I guess, not really a question, but just kind of their thoughts on this particular thing, and then but we'll go ahead and I'll let you.
Yeah. So Ray, hey Ray, what's going on, buddy? Gifted 5 WebDave memberships.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate that. A big shout out to everybody watching and listening to us either later in the replay or on audio, whether it's on iHeartRadio or iTunes, or Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. We appreciate you listening there as well. All the updated the description below with all the links, including JEZ's Patreon, is all now in the description and will be on the audio version as well. So please make sure you like, subscribe, follow. You can actually join their Patreon for free to start off if you want to, and then of course have access to some of the awesome and amazing different content that they provide, and early access to some exclusive videos. I know you had a big interview with Colin Moriarty, and that is actually really interesting. I find that one as well. I disagree on Colin a lot of things, but hey, how about that secret showcase? But I'm just kidding. We can all get that wrong. I'm just kidding. Maybe not. So, but the one thing, but before we, and of course, Jess, if you have any more things that you want to comment after Hargeet's, definitely the floor is yours. But I also would like to get your thought, maybe also on your thoughts on the handheld that's coming, and are you going to get one, and do you really think that this is the right step, the right direction?
Yeah, I'm definitely getting one, and I think it is a really good step in the right direction. Like, they're making Windows more friendly for gaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also more friendly for traditional gaming, which is console gaming essentially. Plug a laptop into a PC, plug a laptop into a TV, and you could get a better controller experience than what you can get now, for example, or any desktop PC down the line. So I think it's only a good thing that Xbox is more involved with Windows than it's ever been, and Xbox and Windows are collaborating more than ever, because I think they've sort of realized, it hasn't had the attention it deserves. Like, millions and millions of people use Windows for gaming specifically. And Microsoft's neglected that over the decades. They've neglected that, but it does kind of this whole strategy just come all the way back around to what the vision of the original Xbox was going to be, which was bringing Windows to the living room, and the next Xbox sort of is that vision more so than ever. It's not just going to be a gaming device. It's going to be a more versatile kind of everything device, and presumably if it does run full Windows, there'll be all sorts of homebrew and mods and all sorts of crazy stuff you can do with it, like you could do with the original Xbox, right? Especially in a world where people are more than ever concerned about having direct ownership of things. Windows gives you the tools to get there, right? With media servers, Plex, and whatever else, right? So I think it is definitely a step in the right direction, but it's like you've both said, execution is key. Microsoft often has great visions that don't work out because they don't invest enough in the execution. But things like, shutting down movies and TV, which they did this week, is all about focusing every resource they've got into the execution of this vision,
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that Microsoft sort of doesn't underestimate the scale of the challenge ahead of them. And also the nuance, there's so many nuances with PC gaming that sometimes I wonder if Microsoft realizes some of this stuff. One thing I bang on to people I speak to at Xbox is it's not just what Roblox is, it's the social aspect of it. It's the fact there's a keyboard present. Just the simple fact of having a keyboard is what entire generations of gamers want to have when they're gaming, is access to a keyboard so they can type into the message boxes and stuff like that. And that's not something we've ever really done in our cohort. We used microphones, right? And headsets and stuff like that. But increasingly, like younger cohorts, they don't want to speak on the mic. They want to type into chat, you know. So all those kind of nuances and execution things, like I really hope they're on the ball with some of that stuff. But I think the overarching vision is absolutely sound. Something I'm very excited about, and hopefully they can nail it, you know. But time will tell, right? Time will tell. But yeah, thanks so much for having me, man.
Oh,
yeah, and Hargeet's got the chat pad thing. It's
Yeah,
not good
me too.
enough. They need
It's
a
not.
better one.
It's pretty
It's
good, but
pretty
yeah,
good.
I use it too.
It's not quite there. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. Again, JEZ, thank you so much for joining us. We got a couple of members and super chats real quick. We're going to knock those out real quick, and then we're going to wrap things up. Again, thank you so much for being on today. It's awesome to have you here.
All right, King Web, $2. MS needs a Windows phone to open up mobile. I mean, I don't know. Their attempts at this has been really dismal. JEZ and I both had the Windows phone, and I loved my Windows phone. I thought it was great, but they killed it, and they never, they tried with the Duo and the Duo 2, and then they killed that. So it's just been kind of meh, whatever. So I don't know if they're gonna really go back to it or not. We'll see. Ray, $5. I give peer pressured me into getting the Xbox VR Quest. Well, hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it's useful to you.
It looks cool.
But yeah,
it's cool.
And then FarQ. Hey, FarQ, gifted 5 WebDave memberships.
Welcome, FarQ. And all I got to say is FarQ, FarQ.
Just kidding. And Ray, remember, you can actually, wirelessly connect to your Xbox and to your PC from that, so you don't have to necessarily use cloud if you want to.
Did you mention this one too?
So.
He did. He did.
Yeah, we
He
did.
also gifted the 5 memberships too. It was awesome. Thank you so much, Ray. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. As we wrap things up, just some quick show notes. We are having a show tomorrow night, regular time. We'll be tomorrow night. Silent Cypher will be our guest tomorrow night, as well as possibly another guest we're going to sneak on as well. We'll kind of see, waiting for his reply back, and we'll see if he's going to join us. But yeah, so anyway, awesome to have everybody here today. Thank you so much. Over 300 people joining us, and JEZ, thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to stick around in the chat, as soon as we're done, it automatically going to send you over to Gaz and Paris doing the episode of the Septic Sauce. So we're gonna raid them here in just a minute. So stick around for that, and then let them know that we're bringing.
I didn't know you could do that on YouTube.
You sure can. Yeah, it's something they added like about 6 months ago. So now you can definitely do that. So yep, as long as the people have it set up. I had to have it set up. The Iron Lords was going to do that to us last Sunday, and I forgot I had one thing set wrong, and but I've got it fixed now. So they said they can do it because they usually 5-hour podcast runs right up to ours. So they're going to try and do that to us again sometime soon in the future, which will be awesome. Awesome. So JEZ, please tell everybody where they can reach out to you, where they can find you on social media, and what your gamer tag is. Hey.
Yeah, my gamer tag's JEZ, just JZ. You can find me on Twitter, JEZ Corden. Also patreon.com/XB2, discord.gg/XB2, Spotify, XB2, Randall Thor 19's channel where we podcast every Friday. And yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's fun chat.
Exactly. And you said your co-host is
the man with the million.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. Sweet, sexy Rand. You could tell him we abused that button on him. I'm just kidding. Love to have him back on again. He actually was our guest not too long ago, just about a month and a half ago. It was great to have him on as well. But hopefully we're gonna do our best to talk him into, maybe peer pressure him into to coming out to LA next year. Because I'd love to just meet him and hang out with him and talk to him for a few. So anyway, it was great getting to meet Hargeet, Mr. Boomstick, Paris Lily, so many other members of the community, and even getting to meet Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer was wow. That was incredible and super nice, and they're amazingly nice people. Yes, they were there. I
was there last year. I must have missed you.
No, I was there this year. I was there this year.
Oh, this year.
Yeah, this year. Yeah, and you weren't there. That's what I was gonna think. I was like, oh, you weren't gonna go, because that's why I kept asking in chats in your show. I was like, you guys going to LA? And you're like, I don't think I'm gonna go this year. I was like, oh man, but that's okay.
Did catch up with Sam, but yeah, you weren't here.
That's okay. And that's like I said, maybe next year. Well, it's 25th anniversary, so it should probably be a big one and probably worth your time. So hopefully, it'll be.
I'll try and get
stuff coming. And but if you can't, we'll blame Hargeet. I'm just kidding. Hargeet, please tell everybody where they can reach out to you and where they can find you on Discord, since you're not on social media.
Yeah, H Chani on Discord and Xbox. Yeah, and I guess we'll be on tomorrow at 7 p.m. US Eastern time anyway. So we'll check that out, and then I'll be on with Boom on Wednesday, 7 p.m. US Eastern. Oh, I still have this picture up. I forgot about that. I'll change it back.
Sorry, Concord's dead. Rub that in.
DOA. Anyway, with Boom on Double Barrel Gaming at 7 p.m. US Eastern time, and then with C Money and Doodle on Friday. And I still think we'll probably be skipping next week. We'll see. We'll see if Fonz is kind of back up and running next Saturday, but otherwise we'll catch up the following probably Saturday. You can check out my channel, Hargeet Chani 1 on YouTube, and of course, if you ever want to pick up my book, Emergence, shop.chani.us.
I'm telling you, yeah, I think I've got a deal worked out for you, Hargeet, where we can get where you can get Epic Treasure to read your book.
Oh wow!
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, I'll just say we'll talk more about that later. But you talk about ASMR. Just saying. Anyway, shout out to Epic Treasure. She's amazing. And so yeah, you guys got to throw this out there.
If you like this video, please hit the like button.
Oh yeah, thank you, Dirt and Shaun. We love those guys. They're amazing. JEZ, it was absolutely awesome to have you on. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us today. And hopefully you'll come back again sometime, man. It's like I said, it's always great having you. One of the best and nicest people you'll ever get to talk to. Like I said, I've interviewed him, and he's here now, and he's gracious, and he's so informative, and I liked it to you're level-headed, and we'll sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but you bring it to us, and I appreciate that very much. So thank you so much for everything you do. Hargeet, we'll see you tomorrow night for sure. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Thanks everybody for joining us. Don't forget, we're getting ready to send you over to the septic sauce. That's right. Gaz and Paris are there talking right now. I got them on my other screen over watching them. So we're going to have to make sure we get a good harassing. Have some fun with them. Anyway. All right. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow night. Epic is amazing. You're Bram Stoker. Anyway, thanks, Fark you. See you tomorrow night as well, buddy. And thanks for joining us here on the Gamers Council. What was that, Dirt? What was that?
It was so long I had to roll up some of it.
All righty then.
Game over.